agenda. So lovely to see everybody here. I'm just going to share our screen so that we can see what we're doing. And let's go from there. So hopefully, does that work for people? Coming up, thumbs up, thank you very much. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the agenda. It's a fun-packed agenda. We've got lots in there today. We aim to finish at around 2 o'clock. So, and that end section is, I know it's a long old meeting, so if you can't stay, that's fine. The last session is going to be one that's really interesting because it's going to be talking about the elections coming up and how we get involved with that, and also planning for maybe a festival to mark the COP26, which is something that's going to be happening across the whole of the country. So, but anyway, there we go. Welcome and introductions. So welcome everybody. In a bit, Bill's going to talk about, give us an overview, but we're going to start off by going straight in at the AGM bit, and Brig is going to manage that section. And then we're going to have members updates, so really truly 2 or 3 minutes at the most from each member group around what they've been up to and what they're planning. Then a comfort break, then we'll have the breakout sessions where we're planning for the future, which is really important. So Brig, I can see there's more people wanting to join us. So Brig, I'm going to, so I forgot, and bear with me a second. I forgot to reorder them. Get to this bit here. Okay, so.
You're managing the door, Eva?
Yeah, my laptop just broke and made a really weird noise then, and then kicked me off of Zoom. But yeah, I've just let everyone in. Okay,
so we've got 42 people here so far. Okay, now we're about to kick off with the formal AGM bit of the meeting, and Brig is going to manage that section, and we're going to try the polling on that. So here's a quick overview of the votes that we're going to be doing, but over to you, Brig.
Yeah, so the AGM only comes around once a year, and a lot of people think it's the boring bit, and perhaps it is, but it's also the bit that's absolutely vital, because unless we're operating by the same set of rules and we elect people and make them accountable each year, then we're not running a democratic organization, and I'm sure that's what we all want. So we'll try and get through the AGM stuff as quickly as we can to give enough time for the rest of the meeting. But if I seem to be going too fast or galloping through it, then please start waving your hands and protesting, because the democracy is important as well. We adopted our constitution by means of an online poll back in April. And we said at the time that it was an interim constitution until we could have an AGM, not realizing how long the coronavirus pandemic would go on and how long it would be before we could actually have an in-person AGM. So the first thing that we're asking you to do is to ratify that constitution, so it's no longer an interim constitution.
Okay.
It has been circulated. You all had a chance to see it online. Are we happy to move straight to a vote on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout if we're not.
Is
okay, so Eva, can we go straight to a vote on that motion one?
She was having problems with her computer, wasn't she?
Yeah, we're going to.
There we go.
So you have to click yes or no, and then click submit, and then it's done. And then in a very short time, we should have a result.
Eva, when you're ready, just press the complete or and then show.
It's 38 out of 43 have voted, so if anyone's able to, we'll give it a minute.
Give it
Some
10
people
seconds.
Present may not be members, of course, so they may be not voting.
Okay.
And it's a majority anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So And
Should we
if
do
you
it?
end that,
39 out of 44. Let's end polling. So it's 39 people voted yes.
lovely.
Right,
Thank you very much.
lovely. So the next one that we're doing, move on to the next slide. Thank you. The Constitution doesn't actually provide for all the general meetings to be online, so we're just adding this in to make it constitutionally correct that we can have online meetings. Anyone want to debate that? We move straight to a vote on that.
Go on then, Eva.
Yeah, it's that.
I can't see it because I'm co-host. There we go. We'll rattle through them.
Cool. "42 out of 45 all say yes and no votes for no." Let's share that second. There we go.
Right, next one then, please.
Here we go.
Right, we want to increase the size of the steering group because we're doing so much. There's so much work to be done. So what we're asking is to delete the bit after convener where it says "and for." It says treasurer, secretary and convener and 4 other steering group members at the moment, and we want to increase that by putting in a youth coordinator and up to 7 additional members so that we've got a bigger steering group. Does anyone wish to debate that, or can we move straight to a vote?
Go on then, Eva.
Christian,
Eva's doing it. Eva, launch it, Eva.
There we go.
Thank you.
okay, go straight to a vote then.
Nice. We got 42 out of 45 people have all said yes and no votes for no. Let's just share
Lovely.
that.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
Eva.
we're doing very well so far.
Okay, next one then, Bill. Brig.
Yeah, the other thing we've taken to referring to what the Constitution calls the committee as the steering group. So we just want to write into the rules that it's permissible to refer to it as the steering group. Can we go straight to a vote on that one?
Yep. Go for it, Eva.
Nice. That's all that. It's fun watching everyone vote. It just like things like cool. That's 41 out of 45 people voted yes and no votes for no.
Lovely.
Jolly good.
Okay.
We're making good progress. So this is the review of the year, which is Bill's report as convener. Would you like to say a few words, Bill?
Yeah, I just wanted to do
You should be able to
a
share
little
it now,
journey through. I need to share the screen.
Go for it, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted really to, I can find it. No, I've not opened it up. Hang on a minute. I'll open it up. And then
Do you want me to use mine instead, Bill?
No, it's all right. I'll get it working in a minute. All right. Don't worry.
Dum de dum de dum de dum de
Yeah,
dum dum.
I know.
It was all going so well.
It was all going so well. Yeah.
It gives us a chance to read the chat box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please use the chat box for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. I've got your slides if you'd rather use them on here.
No, I'm determined to get this working this time, Chris.
Okay.
I'm bloody sure I can. I can't see why not, but it does.
Chris, you could.
Oh, here we go.
quickly
I've got it. I've got it. Okay.
What did you say, Julian?
I was just going to say you could recap the overall timetable for everyone because a lot of people joined after you did that.
Oh yes. Okay. So.
Okay, Chris. I'm going to give up and let you do it. I don't know why I can't get that working. There you go. Weird.
Okay. I'll use mine then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Bear with me a second. I just need to go back to where your slides were.
I'll just say next.
Yep, that's right. Okay, here we go. All yours.
Okay, so I thought what I'd do very quickly is give everyone a view of the journey we've taken as a WCA, or pre-WCA actually. And if we start in, it started back in 2018, and if you can go to the next slide, Chris, please. So in November 18, there was a first request to Wiltshire Council to declare a climate emergency, and a couple of young people went in, 16, Dan Hunt was 16, and Alice Brown, and you probably know these people from relationships with another guy who sat on the top of a plane once in City Airport. Anyway, Dan decided he wanted to go in. We went in, there's about 20 of us went in, and some of the people in this audience may well have been in that room. The executive declined that request, so we all walked out at that time. So next one. So in January and February, next slide, we got together to plan support for a climate motion, because by then the Lib Dems had started putting one together, and we felt as a group, loose group, we wanted to do something about it, so we joined, and we went to the meeting, and it was passed by the council, which was brilliant. On next. And then throughout the year, the council started to do things. They were a bit slow. They set up a climate emergency task group, which is made up of councillors, started to look at what they had to do. And by the end of the year, they were getting to a point where they needed to move on and really hadn't done that much. So we decided in December, again as a loose group, we should have a meeting in January to try and work out how to actually tackle this and take them on at their next meeting. Next. So if you go to January, February, so what happened then was that we had a meeting in Town Hall in January. We planned for action on the 25th, and we got a name for the group. And that's when Climate Alliance was born, really, on the 25th of January. And then we went to, as you all know, we went to the meeting on the 20th of February, and we had a really good day of action. And it was green too, people pedaling bikes to keep the electricity going, etc. Next. Then March, we had a first proper WCA meeting agreeing a strategy, and then COVID crept up on us. Next. In April to June, we started, Zoom was our office, and MailChimp and Facebook were notice boards, and they've stayed that way. And actually, in a weird way, COVID has given us WCA a real opportunity to grow, because we don't have to drive anywhere to meet, we just meet. And it's been absolutely amazing what's happened with the number of people we've now got. And we had the steering group set up, we got a strategy formally issued, and the website went live. So we did a lot in April to June. Next. So between July and August, we had virtual meetings. We started our regular members meetings. We had a workshop with Wiltshire Council, and we started exploring the potential for using topic-specific groups to deal with issues of climate inequality. Next. And then between September and December, we had a youth group starting, a youth group workshop with the council, 5 topic-specific groups were up and running, and we've now got a writers group in place as well. Okay. And in January, we're here. I think Eve will tell you a bit more about this. And we've now 6 topic groups active. And if you look on our website, they're all there. You're welcome to have a look at it and join any of them. I think that's a really good area to be in, active, very active. And we had an MP meeting with John Glenn, Salisbury MP, and Richard Clure, the Deputy Leader of Wiltshire Council, which was a very, very interesting meeting. And we'll come on to the next one later on in the meeting. And then the Wiltshire Times have now agreed to allow us to put a WCA environmental page up every month. So we're getting out into the media as well. Next and last. So we'll continue and we'll grow, and we'll thank you all so much for being here and helping us. I tell you what, it's been an amazing journey so far, and it's only going to get better. And we're looking at now developing the topic groups, local and national government interaction, engaging with businesses, and we're planning action through the year. So there's a lot to do, and we're looking for help. Okay, that's me. That's the report from the steering group.
Thank you. Oh,
Right.
Oh, bugger. Excuse me, language. I just need to skip back to where I was meant to be. So
the next business when Christian gets it on the screen will be to accept the report of our convener, Bill Jarvis. So when it comes up, and if Eva's ready with the voting thing, we'll vote, and hopefully we'll all vote to accept Bill's report.
here we go. Is the voting thing working? Is it?
There we go.
Yeah, votes are in. Well, votes are up. Polling's up. Lovely. So we've got 43 out of 46 all voting yes, and nobody voted for no.
Thank you very much.
Good. Well, what a united organisation we are. Now it's the Secretary's report and it's Eva's go.
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm polling. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
So, Wiltshire Climate Alliance membership currently stands at 307 individual members, with 30 member groups from across Wiltshire. And on our social media, we have around 368 followers on our public Facebook page, and 136 members on our closed community group page on Facebook, and 469 Instagram followers. So currently we have on average an increase of around 20 members a month, and we hope to keep it growing at that steady pace. We actually also issue a monthly newsletter which includes relevant information about WCA topics, events and campaigns for member groups, as well as information on Wiltshire issues and also national campaigns that we believe to be relevant. I'd also like this opportunity to encourage you all to invite your friends and family to join the Wiltshire Climate Alliance. Also, if anyone is involved with a local group that isn't already signed up as a member, I'd encourage you to do that as well, because we can get you listed and a link to your website and contact information on our website as well. Thank you.
Right. Are there any questions for Eva on her report? No, jolly good. Right, let's move to a vote on Eva's report then. We're rattling through it.
There we go. Lovely, that's 42 out of 47 all voted yes and no votes for no.
Lovely.
Thank you
very much. Okay, so the next bit is mine. So I'll very quickly. So I'm the treasurer at the moment. Earlier on, we found some real difficulties in getting a bank account or any banks to open a bank account for us, because we're a unincorporated association, and that causes problems. But no banks were opening bank accounts. We did open. We did have an agreement with Wessex Community Action. So they're housing our funds for us, which is very useful. That enabled us to open a people's fundraiser. It's a bit like Just Giving, but cheaper and good and quite ethical group. So it's people's fundraiser. There's a donate button on the website, which is proving good, but it'd be really good. We've got 300 members, and so far we've had 17 donations. So, and it does cost a little bit to keep things running. And we're hoping to do quite a lot in the year coming ahead. So planning some events, that's going to need a little bit of funding just to get that going. More development with the website, people being DBS checked, and getting some campaigns underway, etc. So if you can visit the website, click on the donate button, that'd be great. So far we've had 17 donations, ranging from £2.50, which is great, up to £50. Thank you very much for that donor. And that's about it really. So we've got about £220 raised so far, and that's what's in our account at Wessex Community Action. Any questions? No.
Yes.
Adam's got a statement.
What's that?
Adam would like to say something.
Go on then, Adam.
Sorry, I just put a thing on the chat. I was just a suggestion that with 30 member groups, we could ask them to make a voluntary annual subscription of, let's say, £50 each, that would produce 1,500 quid a year.
Yeah.
And I would, certainly Transcoco, my local group, could easily afford to pay that and would get enormous value from that because of the information that we are sharing with groups and so on. So it might be worth thinking, now we're sort of formally established like this, to ask, not make it compulsory, but that's the way we do it in Transcoco. We just have a voluntary subscription, but we get quite good payments from that route.
Yeah.
And there is, to the point about us, you can also get funding from area boards and things like that for this sort of thing. Yeah, it's worth thinking about.
Right, Andrew's got his hand up, and then Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. I've put the donation link in the chat. Can I suggest people go over and test it? Bung in at 2 or 3 quid. If half of us do that, we'll suddenly have doubled our funds.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, can I ask, has there been any expenditure to date? And you mentioned that there are some expenses. I wondered what those expenses were. And
yes, I've covered that in the report, but I forgot to put it on here. So expenditure, all expenditures so far have been absorbed by the steering group. In other words, it's probably been about 150 quid, 200 quid for getting the website up and running and so on. And that's not been charged, with no intention to charge that in the future. Or charge it now, but in the future they may well be. So that's just been absorbed as beer money, if I can put it that way. Is that all right, Jason?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to.
To add in 1 or 2 other things to that, when we had the demo a year ago for the first anniversary of Wiltshire's climate emergency motion, there were leaflets printed for that. That was actually paid for by a donation from Salisbury Green Party, although we then voted to exclude political parties from being members. So, but that's where that money came from. We had some leaflets printed for the Salisbury People in the Park event in September, some WCA leaflets, and our convener paid for those out of his own pocket. So there are bits and pieces, and there are bits and pieces that have been paid so far out of people on the steering group putting their hands in their pockets. So actually, that's not a sustainable position, and we do need people to stick some money in the kitty.
Thank you, Brig.
So, Brig, do we need to take Adam's point into a vote, or do we take it into the steering group to discuss it?
Well, Adam was suggesting that we make that as a voluntary appeal. There's nothing wrong with us having a voluntary appeal. We did actually consider, when we were considering the Constitution back in April, one of the questions that we asked in our online poll was, should we have an annual subscription? And the vote was against doing that in terms of that being compulsory, but in favour of us being able to ask for money when we need it. So I think we could all echo by acclaim the sentiment behind what Adam said, but we probably don't want to make it compulsory. He wasn't suggesting that it should be compulsory anyway.
No, I agree, but yeah, okay.
We've drawn everyone's attention to the donate button, so I think that's enough. Can we go on to voting on the Treasurer's report?
That's it, Eva.
There we go, voting's open. Lovely, so that's 44 out of 49 voted yes and no votes for no.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Okay. I'm thinking of voting no on something just to test the system. Right, so now we move on to electing the committee. We've heard from Bill already. We don't need to hear from him again. Go straight to it. We'll hear from you later, I'm sure. Can we go straight to a vote on Bill Jarvis as convener? Is everyone happy with that? No one got any questions for Bill? No one want to put him on the rack? No? Okay, we'll go straight to a vote on that then.
Lovely, so polls open. 40 out of 49 voted yes, and no votes for no.
I was only bluffing, see, Bill.
You could have done, Brig, I don't mind.
Okay, motion 9.
Right,
Eva?
so next one, Eva as secretary. No one wants to question Eva, do they? No, come on, let's go straight to a vote on that one as well.
There we go, votes open. That's 41 out of 50 voted yes, and no votes for no.
Lovely.
You're in.
Congratulations.
The next one is re-elect Christian as the treasurer. He's been questioned already. We'll go straight to a vote.
There we go. Lovely, so that's 44 out of 50 say yes, and no votes for no.
Oh, thank you very much. I feel very honoured. I shall not make a speech. Thank you.
So now we got the next position is the new one we just voted to have, but which we've had in effect for the past few months.
It's just like a chat thing. Yeah, just send them a message request.
To elect Poppy as our youth coordinator. Poppy, would you like to introduce yourself and say a word or two?
Yeah,
please?
sure. Hi everyone, I'm Poppy, if you don't know me. I joined WCA back in August after the first workshop with Wiltshire Council. There was a discussion at the end about kind of the lack of young people in the group, and I wanted to get involved and help improve that. So we've now got 50 young members. We've got our own steering group. We had our own youth workshop back in November, and we're currently planning a climate conference with Wiltshire Council. So yeah, I'm very keen to carry on and keep growing it. Thank you.
Any questions for Poppy? Let's go straight to a vote then. She's doing a splendid job. Let's all those in favour of keeping her.
There we go, votes open. Lovely, so that's 45 votes out of 50 for yes, and no votes for no.
Yay, thank you.
Hey, well done.
Right, so now we come to the bit where we've got the other members of the steering group. And yes, Adam Walton said this is like North Korean elections.
What did he say?
Is that a criticism?
Very good, Adam.
Right, well, to try and make it a little, not a problem. Oh, good. So to try and make it a little less North Korean, I'm going to ask each of these people to just introduce themselves and say a very brief couple of words so that you at least see what they look like. And if you can keep it at least as brief as Poppy did. We go first to Julian Jones.
Hi, so yeah, I was born in Tockenham, a little village in Wiltshire. Went to school in Lynham and Caen. Did electronic engineering at Bristol University, and then worked in Plessey and Swindon for 20 years, and then moved on to Reading, joined Friends of the Earth, moved down to Bristol where there's loads of environmental activity.
We don't need your life story, Julian.
And now back in Wiltshire and running Swindon Climate Action Network, and it's really helpful to have Wiltshire Climate Alliance. So been working with the team in Wiltshire cooperating. So that's and it sort of formalised that really. I'd like to formalise that so that you know, I'm not a, you know, I'm formally working with that group.
Right, Graham Martin.
Hi, I was at the first meeting last January and the one in March for WCA. I've been active with Sustainable Devices for about a year, having recently retired, and I'd spent a long time in the military and then working in corporate industry, delivering IT systems. One of the things I've started recently is I'm now studying an MSc in sustainability and behaviour change because I couldn't figure out why we couldn't motivate people and get things organised. So I'm very keen to extend my studies and see what I contribute to the steering committee.
Right, thank you, Graham.
That's me.
Now, our inside man on the council, Nick Murray.
Thanks, Greg. You make me sound like a spy or something. So Nick Murray, I chair Zero Chippenham. My background is in sustainability consulting. I lecture at, in environment at Barnsley University part-time. What else? I don't want to go into detail. There's that Wiltshire Council on the Climate Emergency Task Group. Been involved with WCA since the outset. Okay.
Right, and our highways man, Andrew.
I've just put my little spiel into the chat, and I won't say anything more. Here I am.
Hello, Andrew.
Right, my turn. I'm Brig. I'm from Salisbury. I'm a member of Salisbury Green Party, Salisbury Transition City, and Salisbury XR. And for the past year, I've been on the steering group and been editing the newsletters that you get through the email every now and then. And I'm enjoying it. I think it's the best thing that I'm doing in my life is what I'm doing with WCA at the moment. So I want to carry on doing it for the next year. Caris, you're next.
Hi, I'm Caris. I sit with Poppy on the youth steering group. So I'd really like to help support Poppy at the big steering group, and I guess just keep growing the youth group. We've got loads of exciting events on the way, and I'd just like to keep making more actions.
And Adam.
Hi, Adam Walton. I'm a management consultant by background. I've been one of the people organising the transition group in Corsham for about 12 years now, 12, 13 years. I'm also chairing the energy group at WCA, and I've just been working on this report of the second anniversary of the climate motion. So I'm very keen, and I've got time available to contribute, so very keen to help with the work of WCA.
Right. So that's it. That's the people we've got standing. There's 7 of them for 7 places. So there's 2 possible ways that we could do this. If people are happy with it, we can go to just electing the whole lot in a block and saying everyone's unopposed, and all do it in one go. If there's anybody who wants to oppose any of these people, then we'll do it one at a time. Is there anybody who wants to question any of these people? No, I see nobody. Does anybody want to oppose this, or are we happy for it all to go through as a block? It is a North Korean election, right? So we'll go through it as a block.
Eva? Yep.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Is it working, is it?
Yeah, that's 47 out of 50 voted yes.
Yeah.
That results
Well
in no votes for no.
Well, thank you, everybody. We've got through the hard and boring bit of the AGM, and I hope it wasn't too boring, and I hope it wasn't too hard. So now I shall hand back to Christian, and he'll
Thank you very much,
us
Brig.
through whatever comes next.
Thank you very much, Brig. So we just to recap, because some people joined a little bit later on, it's quite a full agenda. We're aiming to finish around about 2 o'clock. So, and the end sections are really important. It's where we're going to be planning for the future. So if you can hang on, that'd be great. But I understand that some people may have thought this was going to be 2 hours rather than 3 or whatever. So that's fine. But those 2 last sessions are around election, what we're going to do around that, and what we're going to do about marking COP26 and having festival or whatever we want to do around that. So when we're going to go through now is the a 2-minute update from what of all our little groups, not little groups, the groups, member groups are doing. As you can see, there's 14 of us there. So if you can keep it to around about 2 minutes, I'll have my little clock here, and I'll try and keep it to that. Otherwise, 5 minutes will mean that we're going to be here forever. So just really quick update, that'd be great. You can see which order we're going to be in there. So if you see yourselves, that's great. Apologies if I spelt your names any wrong or anything else like that. So we're going to start off with carbon neutral Alban. Ros, are you there?
Mute, hang on.
Ros, you there?
Yeah, I should be here.
Lovely. Couple of minutes.
Right. Yeah, okay, right. It won't even be 2 minutes. We're a fairly young group. We're in a very small village, and we've got a lot of very self-satisfied, we're happy people, thank you. So a lot of it is about engagement and really changing people's minds. We have persuaded the parish council to declare a climate emergency, although they don't seem to think that involves doing anything. So what we're doing now is we've got subgroups running in various different areas. We're working specifically on electric cars and getting a car charger here. That's not a big priority for me, but for a lot of people it is. We're working on road verges specifically, which is a priority for me. And we've now got a working group from the parish council, and we had a good discussion with them last week. We're just about to tell them what they should be doing and see what happens about that. We've got a waste group. I'm really into TerraCycle heavily, whether I should be or not is another matter. And we're looking at really developing a TerraCycle network around the village. We don't do, obviously because Wiltshire doesn't collect food, we're also looking at increasing composting and doing some community growing here as well. So we're just looking at the allotments in the village, which are free, ridiculously steep and not very good for growing stuff, but never mind. And I'm really, really enjoying working with Bill and the Danny Kruger Climate Summit thing, because I personally think that it's all about working up through the levels of government and getting change at the top. So although we're a very, 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 very tiny part of that, it's great to feel that through WCA we can actually be a bigger part of something. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ros, and thank you for your work on that Kruger thing. And also congratulations on getting your council to declare a climate emergency. So really good. And thanks also for keeping for 2 minutes. So I shall move on to the next one. So Salisbury XR, that's it's not Di, it's Mike. Sorry, Mike, I've got your wrong name. We changed last minute.
Yep, no worries. Hello. Back in the pre-COVID winter and early spring of 2020, if anyone can remember it, Salisbury Extinction Rebellion activities included taking part and organising the cycle swarms with Salisbury Cogs, under which groups of us cycled around the city centre, usually on traffic congested Saturday mornings, once a month, past the Guildhall, and then simultaneously carrying out public addresses and holding a static information stand with press releases aimed to inform people what people-friendly streets might be like and the benefits that would follow. These, we hope, contributed to Salisbury's experimental traffic regulation order and low traffic zone scheme of the people-friendly streets that was introduced by Wiltshire Council in October and then promptly suspended by Salisbury Council in November. XR objecting compliant demonstration action on the Guildhall steps, which was videoed and got some good local press coverage, the cowboy video. Members then also joined the XR nationwide occupation of the British Museum in February 2020 to highlight British Petroleum's role not just as an altruistic sponsor of the museum, but as a major global oil and gas producer whose environmental impact is orders of magnitude greater than just from their accidental negligent spills, including such as the Deepwater Horizon. Members also travelled to attend the demonstrations and the council meeting at County Hall back in February 20 that marked the anniversary of the council's declaration of climate change, while others travelled down to join Hampshire XR's demonstration outside Southampton Airport, protesting about the plans to extend its hours and capacity, which, as we're all aware, had now fizzled out, thankfully. We also organised the purchase, we also on the protest side supported the students' Friday protests on the Guildhall Square with our presence and information stands. We organised the purchase and planting of a 200-metre native hedge with 500 saplings on one of the city's utility grassland open spaces in cooperation with the council, and the resulting enclosed area is now set aside for reversion to a wildflower meadow by the City Council. And the group maintained the hedging throughout the spring and early summer droughts, which are possibly climate related. And we've since then added a further potential 30 tree standards, which we put in the autumn. We endeavored to develop informed responses to the public consultations, such as back in the early part of the year, the Future Home Standards, by exploiting the individual members' subject matter expertise, and then encouraged our members to submit their, as a result, better informed opinions to those consultations. And we tried to reach outside of our bubble by starting to deliver presentations to community groups, but these then got curtailed by COVID after we've only managed one at the Old Sarum WI.
Mike, can I speed you up a little bit, Mike?
Right, yeah, okay. In the first lockdown, members kept writing up to MPs, etc., and we did like everybody else, joined Zooms and so on. During the summer's neat COVID break, lots of members moved across to Salisbury Transition City and helping out that in its establishment, which we'll hear more about, no doubt. And we also set up or started a campaign or inquiring into the information, whether the government was implementing its 10-year transition to a proposed voluntary ban on the sale of peat for domestic use. On checking around the local retailers, we found none that were aware of it, and it's supposed to come into force at the end of 2020. So we follow that up with letters to all the MPs and all the businesses that sold it, and also letters to Zach Goldsmith and George Eustace. In the build up to the Climate and Ecological Bill, one of our members, Richard Sharp, prepared a series of 12 letters, organized a group of 100 grandparents against climate change, which sent out letters to all 650 MPs explaining the background to climate change, how we got there, the response by industry and the politicians around the world. And he also supported that by preparing a couple of videos which detailed a lot. Both the letters and the videos are available on the WCA website and also available for reuse from our own one. So please do.
Mike,
Some of them.
I'm going to have to move you on.
Yeah. Finish off then. The other things we currently on the Facebook side of life got 793 followers of our Facebook, 92 members of our closed site. Money is all by ourselves, and those are the main things. And I'll stick a link to our website and Facebook on the chat.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Curtailed.
That's great. XR Salisbury's certainly been busy over the last few months. So that's great. Thank you very much, Mike, and lots of stuff on the website. So that's great. I'm going to move on to our next one, which is the Salisbury Democracy Alliance. Mark, are you there?
I am. Yeah. Hi everyone. Just briefly from me. So Salisbury Democracy Alliance is an organisation that promotes deliberative democracy, which is really the idea of involving citizens in making more informed decisions in all sorts of ways. So one of the things we've been doing now for 3 years is running democracy cafes, Saturday of every month, usually in the Playhouse, but of course in these times now we've gone on Zoom like everybody else. And those operate on the basis of coming along and bringing an issue to the forum and voting on whether or not that issue gets discussed. We have 2-hour discussions around a whole range of issues, many of which are climate related. If you want to participate in our democracy cafes, I'll put my email in the chat. Get in touch with me and I can let you have the Zoom link when it becomes available. Other work we've been doing is around citizens' assemblies, and in particular on the climate emergency. So nationally, you may be aware that there was a National Assembly on climate emergency, Citizens' Assembly. I did put the link to that actually earlier on when there was that brief hiatus in the technology. So do look at that, but locally at Wiltshire level, we've been working very hard to try and get the political parties to adopt the idea of a citizens' assembly on climate change. To some extent, we've been successful. So the Labour Party manifesto for the local elections in May now has citizens' assemblies as part of their offer, as does the Liberal Democrat manifesto. The Greens, I'm not so sure about, perhaps speak to you about that, Brig. The Conservatives, I'm afraid we still have to do. I was able to put a question to Richard Cleaver and John Glenn about citizens' assemblies on climate change last week, and neither of them were very favourable, as you know if you were there. So there is more work to do, and that's perhaps where we're going to need to focus our efforts more and more in the coming year.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. That's really interesting. And yes, that question about, like I say, it's on the video on the news page and you can see what John Glenn thought of Citizens Assembly, which was pretty, I don't think he understood it, to be honest. There we go. Next one is Transcoco. Adam?
Hi there. Yeah, our focus has always been on sort of practical projects at a sort of town and area level. So clearly with COVID, we haven't been able to carry on with those. We were going to get going with a community garden, but that's all been put on hold, all our sort of active projects on sort of waste and so on. So mainly what we've been focusing on is sort of sharing information and having sort of doing a bit of sort of visioning and strategizing, but we're ready to spring into action as soon as we are able to again. That's all I've really got to say on that.
Thank you very much, Adam. That's great. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is the Friends of the Marden Valley. Robert, are you there?
I am, yes, Christian. The Marden Valley is a wonderful valley in North Wiltshire. It starts up in the Chalk Highlands above Carn, very, very high. And it goes down through Carn, past Hazeland Mill, which is where the Avonese trees have got their 33-acre site, and then down to a confluence with the River Avon, just to the east of Chippenham. I saw in some publication in 2019 that only 14% of the English rivers are in good health. We formed a group to want to celebrate and educate about the River Marden. Last May, we organised a Love Your River Day with lots of school children involved and water-based charities involved. Of course, all of that never happened. So we carried on through the autumn doing walks and Zoom meetings. This year, we've got a Love Your River Valley Day. We've expanded. And it's planned for May. That might have happened. Then we're going to push it back to August. Along with Avonese Trees, we do Zoom meetings. And next week, we have a meeting on bird life in the Marden Valley. And on March the 9th, we're going to do water quality in the Marden Valley. And Marden Valley suffers from the real problems of water quality everybody else has: poo, phosphates, and glycophosphates. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you very much, Robert. That looks really interesting. There's links to, in fact, I'm not sure if you're on our website yet as a member. So we'll add you to that if you're happy with that, and put a link to your Facebook page, your website, etc. Right. Sustainable devices. That's Graham. Graham, you there? Yeah, I know you are.
It's actually John Schofield going to do this.
Okay, John. Hi, sir.
So, Sustainable Devisers is a community group seeking to make the devisers area less reliant on fossil fuels and more resilient to the impacts of the climate and ecological emergency. As with Transcoco, we're part of the Transition Network, and so our primary focus is on practical projects to start building the future we want to see. Over the last year, despite COVID, we've launched a devisers repair cafe. We've experimented with some incredible edible style vegetable growing in town. And more recently, we started a cycle-friendly devisers group on the back of a cycling survey we conducted. And throughout this, we've continued to support local businesses, particularly by updating our local food directory on a regular basis throughout the COVID period. In recent months, we've been seeking to build closer alliances with Devisers Town Council and with Wiltshire Council. And what we're trying to do is pull together local community groups so we all take a good hard look at what we're facing in the future, and we start planning to build for a thriving and resilient town despite that. Heading into 2021, quite a number of us have signed up for transition training that's being run by Salisbury Transition City. So thank you to that group. And we're pretty excited to see what comes of that and to bring it into our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the plug for the transition training. I'll move on to our next group, but thank you very much, John. So NADA Community Energy, I've got Alan down, is that right?
Yeah. Hi there, Chris. Thanks for that. Yes, NADA Community Energy, well, the NADA Valley, as you probably know, is west of Salisbury. sort of extends up to the pretty well the Dorset border, beautiful valley. And another community energy exists to sort of encourage sustainable generation of sharing and use of green energy. We've been going for 5 years, and our initial work was in terms of putting up photovoltaic installations, initially on farm buildings and commercial buildings, with a share offer in 2015. Well oversubscribed, and we put up a lot of installations. That was followed by another offer in 2018 to fund photovoltaic installations on schools, on 5 schools. So we've got altogether 17 solar arrays at the moment, and doing a good job and providing a sort of a reasonable income, as it were, to move on to allow other things, in particular the community benefit projects. We've also been looking at renewable heat in schools, funded by the RCEF, Rural Community Energy Fund, looking to put ground source heat pumps in schools, or help schools to do that, or upgrade their systems in various ways. And we've done a completed feasibility study on, I think it's 5 or 6 schools, 6 schools, I think now. We were trying to get some funding from SALIX, which is the Department for Energy loan scheme. Having some difficulty with that, but we're still haven't given up hope in that respect. But otherwise, the schools, we could work with the schools to try to raise funding to get the work done. It's quite expensive to get schools to convert to ground source heat pumps, as you can imagine. What else we've been doing? We're also looking into setting up a car club. We've had money from Power to Change, which is from the National Lottery money, to look at a feasibility study over 18 months to see how it would work. That's been really knocked sideways by COVID, which is it's rather got in the way of things. But we are at the stage now where we've got a lot of community interest. We've got 2 cars. We bought 2 second-hand cars, and we've got set up 2 charging points, and we're basically debugging the system now. We've got some quite sophisticated telematics, which we're looking into, and the whole thing should be underway soon, COVID permitting, but that's all quite exciting. Fingers crossed for that one. We've also just about to put up some solar panels on the local swimming pool to help warm the water. And what else? Oh yes, we'd be very interested to hear from others about the notion of clubbing together with other groups to set up some sort of an onshore wind turbine project. That would be very interesting for us going forward. That's it for now.
Thank you very much, Alan. Yes, Nada Community Energy, extraordinarily busy, and also a really active member of our energy topic group. And we have lots of interesting discussions, and thank you very much for your contributions to that group as well. So I'll move on to the Malmesbury group. Is that Jess? Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me today. Yeah, I'm the coordinator for Malmesbury Climate Action Network. We're a relatively new group. We've been sort of in operation since January 2020. We're not a transition group, but we are very much focused on practical actions at the sort of the town level. But like most groups, our plans have kind of been knocked sideways this year. But in the year that we've been going, we've set up a repair cafe that's been operating virtually, but sadly it has had to stop until restrictions ease. We've also got investigations underway to trial a Library of Things project in the town in the near future. We've got an agriculture team that they held a workshop over the summer to educate the local people about what did they do? A pruning workshop, fruit tree pruning workshop. They've also been developing a food map to encourage the community to share their surplus fruit trees and shrubs. And they're also working on bringing a community orchard to the town as well. We have those trees, we're just waiting for a suitable opportunity to plant them. We have a community energy team, and they have sort of spent the year sort of navigating the many different possibilities for community energy projects. And I believe that we have a representative on the WCA community energy team as well. Our transport team are holding an intra-parish conference to develop a safe pedestrian and bike scheme. And we're also meeting with an EV company to see if we can bring in a charging point to the town. And we have an education team, and they've recently secured funding for a project with a local theatre company. But we're really looking forward to seeing how that one plays out when restrictions allow. And yeah, on top of that, we've just been sort of trying to organise virtual events where we can, film screenings and that kind of thing. And we're actually hosting a virtual screening of the film 2040 in February the 19th. So all of you and members of your groups will be welcome to join us for that. And yeah, that's going to be the starting point for a project that we're undertaking, which sort of combines the lessons from 2040 with Rob Hopkins' new book about what if and imagining a greater future for Malmesbury. So yeah, thank you very much.
Goodness, that's loads of stuff. God, it does show, doesn't it? There's so much stuff going on that most of us don't know about, or we don't know what our neighbouring towns are up to. So that's really good. Thanks, Jess. I particularly like the stuff that you're doing around education. Sounds really interesting. We might need to talk later. But thank you very much for that update. I'm going to move on to Eva for Salisbury Transition City. Over to you, Eva.
Hi. So I'll just give you a bit of an update of what we've done. We've got some groups. So basically, one of the main activities we do is something called People in the Park, which we did September last year. It's a local festival for community groups in our local park. We basically invited the community groups, charities. They had various stalls. We had music and speakers. It was basically a celebration of everything sort of good within our community. The events in previous years to that were similar, but it only invited sort of environmental groups, and by opening it up to the wider community, we sort of were able to network and bring climate and environmental issues to people who weren't previously engaged. Other groups that we've got going are sort of things such as Holes for Hedgehogs, which is a campaign to try and get people to cut holes in their garden fences to allow hedgehogs to pass through. That was actually really popular, more popular than we thought it was going to be. There's also a group who are currently monitoring air particles locally, and that's going to be sort of reported back on shortly. We've got a group, Salisbury 2030, which is basically sort of a dream session, and people are going to sort of imagine what they want Salisbury to look like in 2030 and how we can sort of begin those steps to get to where we want to be. There is also a spin-off project where we are creating a library of things in Salisbury, so that's ongoing. And also, as I think John mentioned earlier, we're running some transition training, which is happening starting next Wednesday with Naresh Giangrandi, who was co-founder of Transition.Ness. So we're really excited about that. And if anyone's interested, you can have a look on our website and register yourself to take part. Thanks.
Thank you, Eva. Just so people know, I'm also a member of Salisbury Transition City. That transition training that Eva spoke about started off, we thought we'd have about 5 or 10 people taking it up, but it's now we've had 70 people sign up from across the world. So it's looking like it's going to be a really interesting session. And the People in the Park thing that Eva also spoke about, we'll be talking a bit when it comes to COP26 as being a possible template for something that we may want to kind of copy or work along for the festival. Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much, Eva. Then, so Royal Wootton Bassett Environmental Group, Kate. You there, Kate? I saw you somewhere. Is Kate here? Go on then, Kate. I think you're there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, just. Yep.
Sorry about that.
That microphone's not very good. We can hardly hear you, Kate. I tell you what, I'm going to skip to the next one. I'll come back to you. Okay. I've got a bit of a problem with your microphone, so I'm going to move to the next one. Andrew, but I'll come back to you, Kate. So bear with us. So Andrew, for the Cycling UK.
Really, it's not cycling. I am a Cycling UK rep for West Wilts, but in the transport group, we're partly functioning as a county-wide cycling alliance. We have, I cover West Wilts. We've got good cycling activists in Salisbury, as you heard, Chippenham, Swindon's coming up in the area, and if any local groups have got cycling activists or want to work with other cyclists, please head towards the transport group. Now, our big challenge is to make Wiltshire into a cycling county and give it a cycling culture. This hasn't happened so far, and we're trying to sort of start from zero. It's one of the worst authorities in the region for cycling provision, the county council. I'll sum this up really by saying that there's kind of what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is when people overestimate their own ability. Wiltshire Council knows so little about cycle promotion and cycling infrastructure that it actually has confidence that it knows rather a lot, and hence you get what's technically in the trade called crap cycling facilities put in, showpieces which don't really work for real people. They put very little money into encouraging and training cycling. We see cycling, as opposed to road building, as an essential piece of carbon reduction by 2030 in changing the mode of transport for those who can, of course. A lot of people will have to carry on driving, and contributing to making Wiltshire carbon neutral. So head on over to the transport group, and we'll try and educate Wiltshire Council, start working with them as people do in the real world. But rather than starting from zero, we feel that we're starting from a position of about -50. So we need all the help we can get.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I think you win the prize of the comment of the morning. What was it? They know so little about it, they think they know a lot about it. I think that's great. I'm going to take that one away and use it somewhere else.
Hi, Chris, just to say I've managed to join you, sorry.
Yeah, Kate, go for it. Over to you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, so we're quite a young group. In the past year, we've really focused on what our aims are. And we have 3 big aims. We want to reduce our carbon emissions to net zero by 2030. We want to protect our green spaces, look after our wildlife and increase biodiversity. And we want to help our shops and our services become more sustainable. And this would include things like reducing waste, plastic, and also looking at things like repair cafes, libraries of things, and supporting our local independent shops and locally produced foods and goods. So we have our monthly meetings, and we quite often have a guest speaker, and that's one way to kind of inform and educate people. And for example, we've got a geeky talk coming up in February, which you're all very welcome to join. We also have project groups, and these are the project groups that we use to kind of advance our aims. So we have our cycle path group, and they're focused on getting the cycle path built to Swindon, which was promised about 10 years ago, and developing a network of cycle paths across Wood and Bassett. So the group has been working really hard and carrying out research and surveys to identify paths and to find out where demand is. We have a road veg group, which has been working with also the land use group of Wiltshire Climate Alliance, and with our councillors and with Plant Life and with other councils to research best practice, and we're making some headway on that. And I'm really happy to brief any other groups that are interested in this with what we've discovered. And we've set up a new sustainable shopping and services group. And last year they did an online sustainable shopping group, EcoFest, on Facebook. And this year we're going to be launching Future Friendly, which is a sustainable shopping app. And I think one thing I'd just like to say, after hearing all of these different groups, so many other groups are doing things which we would also like to do. Is there any suggestion for Wiltshire Climate Alliance that we could perhaps set up some form of platform where we could exchange ideas and help when we set up all these different projects and ideas for speakers and so forth?
Yeah, Kate, I think you make a really good point. One of the things I was thinking about is that there's a lot of events that everybody's having, and talks and lectures and so on. There is an events page, and when people do send stuff through, we put it on the calendar and put some stuff there. But I think it's a bit more than that, Kate, isn't it? It's about sharing some of the work that we're doing. So we might need to go away and think about how best to do that. We've got the various different topic groups, but I don't think that quite does it either, does it? So we need to cover maybe a list of initiatives that people are doing somewhere on the website. I'm not sure. Let's think about it. But thank you very much, Kate, for the update. That's great. Cycling we've done, and birds and the bees. Oh, birds and the bees. Is it? Yeah. So Glynis, are you there? A couple of minutes. Glynis, are you there? Yeah, go on then. I can't hear you. Can anybody hear Glynis? No. Glynis, you're not coming through. I'll come back to you, but I can't hear you either. You're not muted either. So I've not something wrong with your mic. Yes, go for it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, first of all, it's my birthday today and I officially become an old age pensioner. And I haven't even decided what I'm going to do when I leave school. Anyway, so I have been doing green stuff for like years, so many years. And we actually do now a radio broadcast on Swindon 105.5. And I've been doing this for 8 years, called The Birds and the Bees. And basically, we want to promote everything you're doing. Swindon is also, I started up Swindon as a transition town. We also have a group called Cake and Conservation, which is a very informal group, which I'd like to invite people to. But we want to get you guys on, basically on the radio. We've now got a Swindon 105.5 app, so it's easy for people to listen and they can go back and listen to old shows. My co-presenter is Keith Williams, Councillor Keith Williams, who is Cabinet Member for Climate Change at Swindon Borough Council, and he's here too. You're going to say hello, Keith?
I can do. I'm literally holding the ladder for my wife while she paints the ceiling. But yes, I'm here. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
So we do, we try and make the show quite informative but light. And you were just talking about how to get your stuff out there, events we want to know about. We want to pull things together. We have science on the latest science. We've had people from University of Edinburgh, Swansea, all over the country because we can at the moment. And what else? Also B Roads. I started up in Swindon, B Roads Swindon. So yeah, come on the show and let's get this all around the country. Really
lovely.
I really just want to say one thing. I'm really so impressed with what everyone's doing, because when I started, nobody was doing anything. So it's great to see all this stuff going on.
Lovely. Glynis, thank you very much for that. Does that Swindon 105 cover, I know it's an app as well, but do you get much of an audience from Wiltshire generally, or is there a similar thing for the rest of Wiltshire?
We would not know. I put it up as a podcast, and we get about 3,000 on Facebook, but we would not know who's getting it anywhere else. But as there's an app, we do know through the website that we have people from all over the world listening in, but and we've got numbers on that if they go through the website, but we would not know if they're just listening to their radio. Understood. So we've obviously got, I think we go out as far as Marlborough, I'm not quite sure, but certainly with the app, which has just recently been launched, it can go anywhere. Because people can just click on the app. So
thank you very much, Glynis. We've got you listed on our group members. So if people go to the website, in fact, all the groups that I've spoken to so far, and most of them, if you go to join us, then the next on the website, and the tab just below that is our members. That's where you'll find all the people who've been talking this morning. So I'm going to move over to Julian. Kate. I'll come back to you, Julian. Kate. Talk about Trowbridge Environmental Community.
Hi, yes, I'm from Trowbridge Environmental Community. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Our focus as a community group has been on building connections across the town that have at their heart. This has meant starting to establish a network of people from all walks of life who want to participate in activities, change the image of the town to one of a green, environmentally aware home for residents and the wildlife around them. In practical terms, we've distributed over 2,000 trees in Trowbridge to schools, landowners, and households. This was a positive and affirming act for all, especially in COVID. We've organized litter picks and held stands at community fairs attended by over 1,000 people, and had a team of volunteers wade about in the River Biss, clearing trolleys, large items, and many bags of rubbish. If you know the River Biss in the middle of Trowbridge, you will appreciate this act of bravery. We sit on an environmental working group that has councillors, long-standing environmental groups, and local business representatives on it. Trowbridge Town Council declared both a climate and ecological emergency after input from our group. In 2021, we are expanding into enhancing the local environment through running projects like the Blue Heart campaign, tree planting, and onto other big matters like waste, energy, food security, biodiversity, sustainability education, community building, and transport. Being a part of WCA has helped us bring awareness of other important local projects to our members, and we hope it will allow us to work collaboratively to achieve shared goals related to tackling climate action.
Thank you very much, Kate. That's really good. And you know, talking about COVID, it does raise the issue that a lot of the groups have been making life bearable for some people in lockdown through that kind of community spirit and being together and so on. I think shouldn't underestimate the impact that that's had to help people get through this horrible thing. But thank you very much, Kate. I'm just going to move. Get that one. I think Julian's up. No, not that. Not yet. Julian. You're on here.
Thanks. Sorry, someone just came to the door. So Swindon Climate Action Network. So we're a network focusing on climate change, and we do things like organising meetings with our MPs and have been councillors as the council as well, engaging with a council cross-party working group on climate change. Responding to consultations like the local plan consultation, the decarbonisation strategy consultation, getting involved with groups doing bids for funding, things like that. We've been involved with the CSE with an Energy Champions group. They started off a project and we're sort of working to make sure that carries on in Swindon. We've been working with a group that's setting up a climate emergency centre, which is an old Debenhams, which is hopefully going to be like a sort of community community centre with some good climate content. We respond to planning applications. We sort of liaise with other groups like Transition that Glenys mentioned, XR in Swindon, the cycling campaign. And also externally with groups like Oxford and Bristol to sort of check that, see what they're doing and hopefully bring a bit of it into Swindon. In previous years, we've organised the Eco Festival in Swindon in conjunction with one of the local community centres and had stalls at other events in parks and things like that. And just one other thing I'll mention, I was asked to say something about Friends of the Earth. So we're affiliated to Friends of the Earth. And that brings various benefits from sort of technical ones like employer liability insurance, invitations to lots of training webinars and events, lots of resources you can have, and lots of experts you can ring up to ask about particular things. And it's a really useful resource. They've got a regional campaigner. And so now Swindon is also, well, Swindon has been for a while, but Wiltshire is also registered with Friends of the Earth as a climate action group. So that means they've got a map of groups doing things across the country. So we've got 2 pins on the map in Wiltshire at the moment, but any other group can also sign up to that network and get the benefits of being sort of a member of the network, and it's free. And get a few more pins and potentially additional contact and, helping people to find other groups in the county. So yeah, so it's a very useful thing to do. Yeah, that's me.
Lovely, Julian. Thank you very much. That Friends of the Earth thing is really important. The font of knowledge is amazing. So that's a really useful asset. So we've done that. So we're time for a break. I don't know about you, but I could do with getting to the little loop. So shall we say round about 10 minutes? Should we say 25 past? That gives us 7 or 8 minutes.
Chris,
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, could I just say a few words at the end of this talk? Because
yep, all yours.
What's happened over the last half an hour or so is just blows your mind. I have to say, there is so much going on in this county that you don't know about, or we just think things are happening, or we don't think that are happening. I mean, it's given me personally and WCA an incredible boost, because it means we know there's stuff going on. We know there's a lot of things going on. And we're here to try and join that up, and I think we're helping to join that up. And I thank you all again for being here, because it is so important we do. And people have raised so many points, and I've made some notes as we go along. But we have individual groups doing many things, and joining all those things together will just make such a massive difference. And I know, from community energy to verges to whatever, it's just incredible. I'm blown away, and I thank you all very much. And if we'd had all the groups talking to us, we'd have had another half hour of stuff, and it would have been just as interesting. Yeah. I'm amazed, and I'm really thank you all for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, great time.
Christian.
Yeah. Yes.
Could I just quickly give people a resume of what Salisbury Community Energy managed to do over the last 12 months or so?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to leave you because I need the loo. So I'm going to.
Right.
So Caroline, carry on, and then Brig, carry on, and I'll be back in a second.
Just to let everybody know that Salisbury Community Energy did actually get to the end of its portfolio of 5 solar sites in Salisbury, including Salisbury Cathedral, and they're all getting the feed-in tariff, which is splendid. And I'm saying that Salisbury Cathedral only has its feed-in tariff thanks to COVID, because the government extended the period of time by which the registration for feed-in tariff was possible. And an extra 6 months made all the difference, because the negotiations with the committees in the church to pass this plan on the cloisters was incredibly tortuous and took a very long time. But anyway, we're really pleased that all those sites are up and running and generating. And we also had a meeting with John Glenn to talk about the local electricity bill, which I'm sure most of you have come across. This local electricity bill is so crucial for getting local community energy schemes happening in much larger quantities and much wider across the country. And he did write to the Energy Minister Kwasi Kwarteng, and I recently asked him to write to the new Energy Minister, who has taken Kwasi Kwarteng's place, and he has agreed to do that. So it was a very successful meeting with John Glenn, which I know a lot of you joined, and I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming and giving it that support. It was very important. Okay.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Shoot, Briggs got a quick one, and then we'll break for a few minutes.
Yeah, a quick one from my point of view as the steering group's newsletter editor. It would be great if all these local groups who are doing so many things would actually make a point of communicating with WCA, so that we can stick things in the newsletter, or if we haven't got room in the newsletter, we can at least make sure that all your activities are highlighted on our website, and we can put links in on the newsletter, so that all this news gets spread around Wiltshire more than once a year.
Absolutely. Thank you much, Brig. Okay, let's go for 5 minutes. We'll come back now. So we say, should we say 12:30, just to go? 12:30 then. 12:30. See you back here. It's when all the really important stuff, which is planning for the future, how we're all going to make a difference. So do come back. Sounds like an advert for the break. There we go.
We've just done a very important bit, Chris.
Yeah, we've done a very important bit, but it's the next bit looking ahead. Go on, look at how many messages.
Did you want me to lead one of the breakout rooms?
Well, maybe. So let's have a look. We've got 50 of us so far, so we want to have 7 breakout rooms. I think something like that. We're 46, so we might. Let's have a look. Let me just have a go at doing the breakout rooms and sorting them out now. So we're going to have 6, 7. Let's do 6, because I can't. So Yep. Oh God. Okay. I'm going to have to move right. Eva, I'm going to move you to group number 1. Okay, and Adam, Bill, Julian, I'm going to move to group number 2. So Julian there. Group 3 is going to be Andrew. Bill, I'm going to move you to group 5.
Okay, I'll be here.
Yeah, fine. I'm just looking at Nick. You've got room 5. Oh no, you're not. I'm going to move Bill to group 6 then. I think Poppy. Would you like to, Poppy, manage one? Or are you okay?
Only if you need me to.
Yeah, lovely. I think I've got Bill for room 6, Brig for room 5, or Nick. Group 4. Group 4 need one. So Brig, I'm going to put you to move 4. Okay, Brig is room 4. Just trying to work this out now. Start from the beginning then. Group 1 is going to be looked after by Eva. Group 2 is going to be looked after by Julian. Group 3 is going to be looked after by possibly Adam. But Adam hasn't had the thing. Adam, are you there? No. Group 4 is Brig. Group 5 is Nick. Group 6 is Bill. Poppy. Seeing Adam's not here, I'm trying to find you. I might put you in room 3.
Okay.
Okay. Group 3.
I've got the form ready.
I'll try and find out where you are at the moment. Hang on. Which room are you in at the moment? There. Poppy to move. What room did I say I was going to put you in? 3.
3, I think.
Yeah, room 3. Have you seen the template that we're filling in?
Yes.
Yeah.
In a table format now.
Yeah, that's it. You got that, have you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, lovely. So you've got room. So room 1 will be Eva. Room 2 will be Julian.
Yeah.
Room 3 will be you, Poppy. Okay. Room 4 will be Brig. Room 5 will be Nick. Room 6 is the largest one with Bill. How many have we got in this one? 8. I'll move some around. Move that around.
Christian, just to mention as well, there's been some really generous donations in the fundraiser, so it might be good to just sort of thank everyone for that.
Yes, okay. Well done. That's really nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. Well, do remind me as well at the beginning when we get going again.
Will do.
I'm just going to get myself a glass of water and maybe some nuts. Okay. Eva.
Yeah.
I think because you're in, because you're co-host or whatever, it's stopping me from doing certain things on. If you go breakout room.
Drop out and then just rejoin.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, or just have a click on the breakout rooms and see if you can adjust the time on them.
I don't know how to do that.
No, here we go. Hang on. Options. I've got it. Got it. Got it.
Cool.
Yeah. 20 minutes. I think we'll do 20 minutes. Okay. Done. Okay.
Julian, can I ask, is that view behind you, is that from your living room window or?
It's from my bathroom window. Yeah, that's looking out from Swindon over Westmill Wind Farm, wind and solar farm, which is just in the south of Oxfordshire.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a great view, isn't it?
Mm. So, well, but it's a backdrop, it's not the actual.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, okay. So confusing, this digital lark.
There's so much in the chat bit. Goodness. Yeah. I've not been seeing it really.
You know you can save it at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what we might do is sort of send out a copy of the notes to everyone afterwards, just in case. Stuff.
Yeah. So, Nick, are you there? I've just seen your message.
Yeah, sorry. Karen was expecting to do a talk on zero chipping, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's all on the website.
I don't think. Did you send an email to Eva?
I don't know. I volunteered to do it, but I didn't know how to confirm it. But anyway.
No, sorry. Well, we just didn't pick up on it. Sorry.
Okay.
Are we carrying on with groups after the break? No.
Yeah, don't worry.
Well, it would be great to hear from you, Nick. I think it would be good. I mean, there might even be one or two others that.
Well, I don't want to, because we've got. I mean, there's so much to say, isn't there, from everybody? But
yeah, it's very important.
maybe just to highlight the two things which I think other groups could benefit from joining up with.
Yeah.
Just those, one of which is the solar panel scheme, which is progressing outwards to other groups, and the other is the tree planting, which could be a much bigger initiative. We've got the NFU interested in as well.
Yeah. I think we're all back now anyway, so I think we'll kick off again. So welcome everybody back again. So did you just cover that, Nick, or did you want to cover it quickly?
So we've got a community solar panel scheme, which is a discount scheme, and those who are in the energy group will know about it. Where there's we've got some reliable installers for people who are interested in putting PV on their roofs, and working through the scheme, and it's been rolled out to Royal Wood and Bassett, Eco Royal Wood Bassett, and to Sustainable Calm. Any other groups who are interested in that, please get in touch, or do it through the energy group through Adam. And then tree planting, we're working with the NFU network to identify spaces on land on farms and other landowners' properties, and entering into agreements to plant trees where Woodland Trust is providing us with those trees, and we've got volunteers and we've got everything set up to roll it out. We've already got several in the pipeline, several thousand trees healed in, which are going in soon, again, which that can be expanded. So if we've got enthusiasm for that, the NFU is very interested in sort of working with us and bringing in other groups through WCA to expand that one as well. So just to make people aware.
Lovely.
Can I just say something about tree planting?
Yes, but we're really running a bit late on our agenda. So Glynis, if
Okay, just really quickly, I went to a webinar where it's about floodplain meadows, and the theory is now that actually meadows are better carbon putting carbon in the soil than trees. So just to let people know that you really, those meadows need planting as well as trees.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Glynis, for that. Okay, so I'm just going to go through, move on to the next stage of the agenda, where we're heading towards having a breakout session. But before we go to the breakout session, I'm just going to ask people about the subjects that we're going to talk about, just give a quick update, a couple of minutes or whatever, on those subjects. So first of all, Adam is in the process of writing a report on Wiltshire Council. Adam, do you want to cover this very briefly? Because people are going to be asked to kind of to put suggestions in.
Sure. So we thought we'd mark the second anniversary of the declaration or the acknowledgement of the climate emergency by Wiltshire Council by doing a report on progress they've made, trying to be as constructive as possible. So basically what we're doing in that report is reviewing what they have done, what they haven't done but perhaps could do, and coming up with some practical recommendations of what they could do to accelerate. We're still working through that draft, but we're happy to share it with people once it's finished. And the aim is to publicise that very widely around the anniversary. So the youth session that we've got booked for the 22nd, this could form sort of some of the key messages for that. We aim to go out to local media and send it all to councillors and try and have sessions talking to individual councillors or collectively to councillors if they will engage with us on those key messages. But essentially the thrust of it is, yes, you've done some stuff around your own estate and they're claiming that it's a 68% reduction in their carbon footprint. Well, they are doing some stuff on their own estate. They've done very, very little practical stuff in terms of the wider objective of carbon neutral for 2030. They put a few things in motion, but moving very, very slowly on that.
Okay. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's essentially what so we've got some practical recommendations of things they can do to accelerate.
Okay, lovely. So we'll be discussing.
Can I just add a little bit of that?
Yes, go on then.
Yeah, well, Adam's done a hell of a lot of work on this report already, and it is quite interesting to read. I think we've got to work out a way of getting it out into the wider community without just landing it on them. So part of the discussion we might be having is how do we get this out there? We'll have conversations with councillors, obviously, but I think it's important to share publicly, but in the right way. So be interested to hear other views on actually how we might do that, whether we do it through radio or through the papers or whatever. But I think for that period, and we're coming up to the 23rd, be useful to have feedback on maybe how we could do more on that. Okay, that's me.
Thank you. Andrew, is it better for the breakout room, or do you want to say something particular?
Okay, just briefly, if we're going to do a published response to the local plan review, we could perhaps incorporate this in some way in a publication.
Yeah, maybe, and discuss that further in your breakout room, if I can say. Thank you. So the other thing we're going to be discussing in the breakout rooms is the youth conference. And I'll just ask Poppy just to give a quick outline of what that's about and how's it going so far. Poppy, you there?
Yep, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're planning to run a youth climate conference to sort of commemorate the second anniversary of Wiltshire Council declaring a climate emergency. So that'll be on the 22nd of Feb at 5 p.m. We've invited all 96 councillors to come along, and I think we've got about 20 who've so far accepted the invitation. We're going to get the youth members to give a statement, kind of maybe a rating of the council, what they think they're doing well, what we actually want to see from them, where they could improve. We've also come up with our own sort of version of the Sustainable Development Goals, our own youth SDGs, which we plan to present to them. The event will be live streamed on Facebook, so anyone who's not either a councillor or a youth member can watch it live over there. The overall aim is to kind of set up a dialogue between young people and the council, show them that young people care about climate emergency and we're not going to shut up about it. Yeah, that's about it really.
Yeah, thank you very much, Poppy. So if people are interested in that, do head along to the events page. You'll find it there. if you're an old geezer, it's okay. You can register to watch it, but not to be involved with it, if that makes sense. So it'll be interesting. And I think the more people we have watching, the more the council will feel the pressure. So do come and register. We'll ask you what your age is and so on there. And asking questions at the full meeting, inviting celebs, etc. Bill, just a quick one, and then we'll break out to the breakout rooms where we're going to explore these ideas further.
Yeah, okay. So the third leg of our thing for the 23rd was we always been asking questions of the council at regular meetings. There's been a lot of us asking them throughout the last 2 years and more. And we felt it might be a better way to approach it this time, to think about inviting people of note out of the county who could ask a specific question on climate. We've set up a little subgroup at the moment looking at that, but we'd be interested to hear how other people see that. And we also have to remember that I think we will need some of our own questions in there too. So it's a bit broader than just celebs or people of note, but I think really, if you can identify somebody who's well known and we can get hold of them and they're prepared to do something, then give us their name, because actually we've only got 3 weeks and we need to really move on it now.
Thank you, Bill.
That's it.
So
yep.
These are the questions that we're going to be asking. Each room will have a facilitator steering group member who's already got these questions. So it's having heard what the report's about, what suggestions, positive and negative issues do you think should be covered in the report? And Adam will pick up anything that comes out of that. As far as the youth one is concerned, the youth event is being led by young people, so it's their statements and that are being made to the councillors. But do you have any ideas of that you think the youth group might like to consider? So it's their group, but you might like to consider things they want to put in. And the last one is, do you have any ideas or suggestions as to how this can become more meaningful for councillors? So be it who's going to ask the questions and so on, as Bill has just discussed. So we're going to have 20 minutes on this these 3 things, so it's quite quick. We're going to break up into 6 rooms, so that's about 7 or 6 in each one, and we'll see you in 20 minutes. Thank you. See you in a bit. Hopefully we're going. Here we go. Yo. Are you still there? Is anybody that hasn't moved? Sophie, are you stuck?
I'm here, but I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, occasionally, one person gets stuck. There's Jason and you.
Well, I've never done a breakout group
No.
thing, so am I supposed to do something?
No, it could be that you've joined just, or you kind of came out and came back in while I was sorting it out, or I don't know.
I did. I had to come out and come back in because my
here we go.
camera was acting up.
I've got you here, so I'm going to assign you to one of the rooms. I'm going to put you with the younger people, so with Sophie, etc. So you're going to room number 2. Okay. You off you go, I think. And Jason, I think you must have done the same thing. I'm going to put you in a room where there's few with Brig, room 4. I'm sending you off to. All right. Okay, if I can get this to work. Here we go. Assign room 4. See you in a bit. Are you? Everybody's muted when they come back into the room. So Nick, you're muted.
Oh, okay. So I thought we were getting back into the main meeting.
We are.
Oh, okay.
You're the first to come back.
Oh, I didn't think we had a choice. We'd have carried on.
There we go. Everybody's coming back.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So it's 39:40.
We didn't
Into
quite
another device. Your polling session is okay. All right. Whatever that is. Thankfully, we don't do polling anymore. Right.
Yeah, when you go into breakout, you think you relax, you've got room to talk and discuss, and then bang, it's finished.
Yeah. So welcome back, everybody. I think we're all back. Still 42 of us, which is excellent. I know we're kind of crossing into lunch and so on. Now, we could do a feedback session, but I think ideally just headlines. So I'm not going to go through every room and ask for feedback, because the facilitators have been filling in a little form with all those ideas and who's willing to get involved and so on. So I'm just going to call it out. Does anybody got any kind of headline things that came out of that? Anybody, or should we move on?
Well, I'll kick off with a couple. We've had a fairly good meeting. We've managed to get through all three. And on the first one, I think the big thing for me was interesting. The two things. One, Jez, why I mentioned our Community Matters leaflet that's gone out to people recently, saying that Wiltshire Council will achieve 80% reduction in their carbon emissions by the end of this year. I think we somehow got to challenge that, because it won't. But the one thing that needs to go into our report, and we need to review that with the report. And the second thing is, suggested by Mel, that we actually congratulate them, because Ariane Crampton obviously has done the work on getting putting a full objection into the incinerator in Westbury. So there were two extremes there. And on the second one, we have a lot of ideas about the youth conference stuff, which I won't go through now, but I'll send them all to Poppy for her taking it on. And we've had a couple of suggestions, or 3 suggestions for other celebs: Brian May, Jensen Button, who we know lives in Somerset, and James May. So we'll pursue those. Okay, that's me.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to, any of the people who've been facilitating those rooms, want to kind of raise anything in particular? Andrew first, and then Nick.
Just the one we had. Someone came up with an idea that we could ask one of the opposition parties or an independent to put a new motion to full council on that day. I don't know if it's procedurally possible at this point. It might be a commitment to green economic growth, well-being, or I'm sure that grouping would want to come up with its own wording.
Okay, thank you. Nick might be able to answer that, but I'm going to move over to Nick straight away anyway, and then Eva. Nick?
Yeah, I didn't hear Andrew's question because I was reading my notes, but yeah, just very quickly, I think the big sense was that there's a disconnect between what the council says and is doing. So, you know, it's and the other thing was that people just don't know. So a lot of people in the group just said, well, we don't really know. They haven't told us that what they've actually achieved. And there was talk about the local plan being really significant at the moment, obviously, because it's going in the wrong direction, and we need to sort of hit that hard. And then celebrities, we also came up with Sting Midgure, James May, Chris Peckham, who lives in the New Forest. So ideas for those. And then with the Youth Council, a strong link between the youth and the council. Is there a youth parliament in Wiltshire Council, and something that the Youth Council can really click into? Might be worth pushing.
That's something we want to raise at the meeting.
Yeah, and then there's quite a bit of detail, but I'll leave that in the notes, so it won't take up too much time.
Thank you, Nick. I'm going to go over to Eva.
Hi. So we had some opposing suggestions. So first of all, we said don't come across negative to the council, but at the same time, we also think we need to get a bit nasty to get more people on board, because they're not doing what they're saying, and just highlighting that lack of action and hypocrisies and any greenwashing that's occurring. And another thing that we said is we can all take part in publicising it locally, in our local areas, sort of en masse, to really get the word out there, to try and get that critical mass of people, and bring as many people on board. We suggested things that we should bring up, such as like waste, food collection, road schemes, and also the council's processes and communications that need improving, lack of sustainable housing. But it was also suggested that maybe we focus on just 1 or 2 things as a criticism of the council, just to really get that strong message across.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. I think the greenwashing bit, I think highlighting the fact that they're not necessarily doing what they're saying is an important one. And Poppy?
Yeah, just a quick thing. We want to emphasise urgency. You know, this is a climate emergency, so we need to get that across at the youth meeting. And something we want to raise is about their poor communication about what they're actually doing. So that's something that we're going to discuss at the conference.
Agreed. It's as if they're shy in saying there's a climate emergency. Yeah. They're worried about the backlash that they might get from old-style Conservative parish councillors and that kind of thing. If you feel that that's what's happening, because you're not seeing anything happening. Sorry, I'll shut myself in.
I'll mute you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I can't see everybody. So is anybody else any of the other facilitators want to chuck in comment before we move to the next bit? We're doing really well on time. So who has?
Brig has.
Brig, I can't see Brig on my page. So Brig, yeah, go for it.
Yes, well, actually it was Richard Eccleston took the notes in our meeting, so he'll be passing those on to you, Christian. Okay. A couple of things were, we need there to be milestones that we can check the council against in terms of progress, and we need more information from the council that's actually measurable against milestones rather than just a load of waffle from them. So that's two things to focus on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brig. Yeah, so specific, measurable stuff that we want to see coming through. Yeah, so I think, oh yeah, Julian, got your hand up?
Yeah,
And
just
Andrew.
And Andrew, yeah,
I put the link to our feedback in the chat, so I won't go through that. It was mainly about transport and a good suggestion on the youth workshop. People were asking if we're going to be sharing the report so that they can look at it and feedback on it. And can you just clarify the process for that, please? Thank you.
Adam or Bill, on that quick question there about how the process we're going to consult our members on the report before it goes out, or not?
I think we'll put it on the website without any doubt. That's the best place to put it because it's accessible for everybody. I don't know how we would receive comment back on that. I don't know. I haven't worked that out. But Adam, you got any ideas on that?
I mean, it would be great in principle to have lots of input, but writing a report by committee is not a very practical way of doing it, particularly as we've only got 3 weeks left to actually get it out and start publicising it.
We've only got a week, really.
Well, a week, yes, absolutely. I mean, we've got a week to finish it, and then we've got to be focusing on getting it out. So I think we've had a lot of really good input from a lot of people, and I think we just need to get it finished. And
I think what we might have is a comment section. People can comment on the website and add things.
Okay. One suggestion.
Andrew.
The council needs reminding that they passed 2 climate resolutions 2 years ago. One was to make the council carbon neutral, and one was to make the county carbon neutral. They're treating that second one as if they hadn't passed it.
Yeah, we've made exactly that point.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm getting a bit of an echo somewhere. Can we make sure everybody's muted? And I'm just going to go for the last one to Graham before I move on to the next one, if that's all right.
Yeah, 2 alternative suggestions to celebs, because celebs can be considered a bit of a double-edged weapon because of their lifestyles. Is Caroline Hickman is lecturer at Bath University in climate psychology. She lives in Wiltshire and is quite noted locally for her comments, and she's quite vociferous. I think she'd be open to it. The other one is Lieutenant General Richard Newgee, who's just stood down as the head of sustainability for MOD, who lives in Devizes. If you want, again, somebody who can talk substantively, and his report for MOD has been taken forward. He's going to be a non-exec director to the Sustainability Board for MOD.
Thank you very much, Graham. Really good points.
Perfect, Graham. They're on the list.
Okay.
Lovely. I think that answered the question. Thank you very much. Right, unless I can't see any other hands up, so I'm going to move on to our next thing, which is all about action. Okay, so Wiltshire Climate Alliance wants to be about taking action to make things happen or make things change. So we're going to talk about the COP climate festivals, and that's me now for a second. So just to kind of, and then we'll talk about the local plans consultations that Nick's going to talk about, Danny Kruger Climate Summit, Bill's going to mention that in a second, and local elections. And then we're going to break out into 2 breakout sessions again, talking about the festivals and ideas for COP26, and also what we're going to do about local elections. So those are going to be the subjects that we're going to be talking about in our next breakout room. But we're going to give you a quick briefing before we get there. So the COP26 festivals. Okay, so I attended a meeting the other day with the Climate Coalition. I must say, a really good organisation. It came over as really professional. They're wanting to coordinate a series of festivals across the UK on the run up to COP26. Probably second or third week of September. It can be all sorts. It could be an arts type festival, music, crafts, could be anything. It can be any size. So it could be a small thing, something big, something absolutely significant or whatever. Like I said, probably second half of September. Very much looking for ideas. So groups like ours have been tasked to come up with ideas for what they want to do in their communities, to then link in with the whole national scene of what's going on. I think everything's going to get cranked up, I think, pre COP26, and could be an opportunity for all our groups to actually physically get together. So everybody who's here, all those groups that we've heard of from today, to get together physically and so on. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of what it could be like. And just to put it in context, I run an events company where we hire out sound and lighting equipment and stages and so on. So we're quite used to putting on events and so on, which is why this is kind of my kind of thing. So we could go for an event, let's say that's kind of got about 500 people. And that would be replicating what Salisbury Transition City did. So we put up a little stage like that. This was in September. So it was still COVID, so we socially distanced. So we had a stage like that. And then Brig put his TP up, which was great. If you look at all those gazebos, each one of those was a member of the Salisbury Transition City. And we had about 20 different little organizations displaying and explaining to the community what they were doing. And people talking and so on. The stage was powered by a bicycle generator, so that ran the sound system, which is a bit of fun. There's a little 7-year-old, and you can see yoga being taught in the background there. So that was a bit of fun. There's some yoga, and then we also had a number of talks. So that could be one model, or we could do that several across the Wiltshire at the same time, or we could do that the week before and then all come together for something big. So something big could be, so this is kind of things, something like that. Okay, so we could look at a 2,000 to 3,000 people event. That happens to be a Jack Savarotti concert we did, but anyway, and that was at nighttime. It could be fun. We could put up other tents and have separate venues, maybe one for different subjects or whatever. So this is a bigger style type event. Okay. So the questions for when we're going to ask at breakout is, do we want a big one? Do we want a small one? Do we want small ones leading up to a big one? That kind of things. Any ideas? Particularly looking for people to put their name down to become part of a working group and have different skills. Some of it's around organising, some's about all sorts. So anybody want to get involved? We need to find a venue. So if you've got a friendly farmer and you think their field might be good, or should we have it in the town centre like Trowbridge on the green there? We want to do camping, all that kind of stuff. Any ideas? So that's my bit on and where I'm looking for help in the breakout rooms to explore what people think we should be doing. Local plans. Over to you, Nick.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So essentially, we've set up a sustainable development topic group, which is focused on looking at the bigger picture things. So much of anything that's we're investing in now or planning now is going to lock us into emissions if we don't do it properly. So the first thing we're looking at is the Wiltshire Local Plan, which we believe is a plan for the last century. Is not fit for purpose for the future we're facing. And its proposals to put massive amounts of housing on green fields, which will just generate commuting. In fact, an additional 5,000 that it even needs to by the flawed formula which the government has given it doesn't make sense. It's undermining local planning and localism, and it's proposing large infrastructure. So, for instance, around Chippenham, there's going to be they're looking to put in a distributor road. In fact, the whole bid is trying to predetermine the local plan to put in a distributor road that will have two large sort of flyover type bridges over the River Avon, 500-metre long concrete things, 2 bridges over canals, and be hugely carbon intensive when there isn't actually the need, and the whole thing is unsustainable. So we're looking at how we put that response forward in terms of the plan not being fit for purpose and promoting resilience on dependence on the car, etc. We're taking the Client Earth approach. So Client Earth sent a letter to Wiltshire Council and other councils saying that they need to look at the carbon reduction potential in their local plans and come up with a framework for cutting carbon through their plan, and a way of measuring and reporting on that. And in fact, that's an obligation on them under the Climate Change Act, which is referred to in the NPPF and other planning legislation, but which the councils are currently not doing. So we're looking to strengthen our sort of link with Client Earth and pursuing Wiltshire Council to reconsider its plan and to start thinking about the climate. And we'd encourage people to come to the Sustainable Development Topic Group if they can contribute to that.
Okay, so thanks. So Nick, you're saying that the best, if people want to get involved in this whole local plan consultation, is that the best way is to go to the topic group, the sustainable development topic group, and get involved there? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Lovely. There's a registration form on there, and then that way you'll be invited to come along and be part of that group. Thank you, Nick.
Your next meeting is on the 5th, Nick. Yeah.
5th of February. Okay, I need to put that in there.
Yes, that's right. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so next bit is the Danny Kruger climate bill. Bill. So here's a little bit about it. So over to you, Bill.
Can you put the next bit on? Thank you. Yeah, so we've been, the small group of us have been fortunate enough, I don't know whether that's the right description, to meet with Danny Kruger, and he was open to some suggestions, because when we met him, he said, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I'd be interested in hearing your views. So there was a bit of a chat in that meeting, and then we came away, and myself and Graham wrote specifically about things he might think about, and he's written back saying, yeah, we're going to take those on board, blah, blah, blah. But no more information has come yet. I think it's be really, really good. The more people we can get in this meeting, the better. There was a bit of a wobble because he said to us first time around he was going to bring a climate denier into the team just for balance. He's rolled back on that now, and he's bringing a sustainable farmer along who's got a problem with the economics of the changes needed on farmers. And I think that's a much different question that we can have a proper debate on, rather than I don't believe there's a problem altogether. So as long as what he's telling is true, I think it is, because we've checked up on who the farmer is, and one of our group knows him, and we're actually Black Sheep, who are a consultant that work with farmers, are going to come along as part of, if you like, not necessarily the opposition, but maybe we can get her onto the panel. So those are the sort of things that are going around the summit at the moment. How that will work in terms of our engagement as WCA, don't know yet. But the three contacts at the moment are me, Graham, Martin, and Roz. All of us have been in contact with Danny one way or the other. And when we have more news, we'll come back out to everybody and say what's going on. We'll keep you well up to date. But minimum do register on his summit.
Yeah, thank you. So again, if you head over to the events page on our website, then you'll find the link to register on his site, if that makes sense. It's the easiest way to go. Okay, thank you. And then local elections, we're going to be talking about that in the group. But Bill, do you just want to kind of cover that quickly?
Well, yeah, we've got local elections in May. How are we going to manage it, basically, as a group of groups? How do we want to deal with it? I think it's a big question. Okay. I think we need to deal with that really, really well. Of course, they may not be till October, but we'll have to work on that if it happens.
I went to Wiltshire Council meeting the other day. They said it is going to be, they're still planning to go ahead with it in May.
Yeah,
but that could always change. So we're going to break out into breakout rooms. I haven't done the yet. These are the questions that you're going to be asked. So which we've covered already, and around the elections, we have that. I just need to stop sharing for a second so I can get to the breakout bit. So breakout.
Just to point out that the SD topic group is 5 p.m. on the 8th of February, apparently.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Okay, oh, right, and we're going to, hang on. Oh. Okay, for some reason it's changed a little bit. It's gone down to 4 rooms. I'm just going to let it run. We've got a facilitator in each one. So Poppy, can you do room 3? Brig, can you do room 2? And Bill, room 1. There's 9 in each group, or thereabouts. So I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Yeah, look forward to hearing feedback. I'm drinking too much water.
I accidentally left the breakout room that I was facilitating.
I deliberately left it because he said we ran out of time.
Yes, we still had 30 valuable seconds.
Oh.
So I'll just type up the notes.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, in my breakout room, sorry I accidentally left half a minute early.
No, so how many are we back? 32, 33, 35. Good. So we're just waiting for everybody to come back. Is everybody? No, there's another group coming back. There we go, 38. Good. I think that's everybody back. Done very well. We're more or less on schedule. Let's have a look. I'm just going to share screen then, just so we can see what we're doing. So with that, so we're going to the kind of feedback session. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of this. It's easier to see everybody. Whilst all the facilitators, hopefully we've been filling in that template that we had and fill it back in again. How did we get on with the festival idea? Can I have some headlines from anybody?
Julian was taking notes for us. Julian?
Okay, so Bradford Beehive Field was suggested for a particular local one. We thought it was a good idea for individual groups to organise their own things, possibly have one bigger one in the north and in the south afterwards. But a key point is as well that because of the enormous uncertainties, we should probably plan for some sort of online festival as well. Yeah, that sort of summarises it, I think.
Okay, thank you. And did you get anybody wanting to become part of a working group at all?
Yes, so I've got Bill, Rachel's going to try and, yeah, I have got them noted.
Yeah, lovely, cool. Anybody else on the festival thing? Any kind of highlights?
Yeah, just briefly, Chris. So we thought, you know, we may need to look at the idea of having smaller local ones, which are all happening at the same time, as a possible way forward, depending on how the situation is, or a mixture of one big one and lots of small ones.
Okay.
We came up with the same, possibly first weekend local festivals, midweek local group activities, second weekend a central venue such as Trowbridge Park, which is next to Trowbridge Town Hall and to County Hall, the seat of Wiltshire government.
Yeah.
And I put out we had Eva like to be on the working group, great, Eva. And we thought that maybe people might, when they start organising their local ones, some people might bubble up to the top and join a central working group, emerging from that local activity. And I will say it now, because I say it whenever I can. I'm putting out a call through the Wiltshire Climate Alliance website volunteering page, that visual artists and performing artists identify themselves with a view to forming their own topic groups, and the first opportunity for them post-lockdown to put their creativity to work might be in this early September COP26 WCA festival occasion.
Thank you. Now, while you're on that subject, I'm just going to share my screen to just show you a couple of things on the website. So hopefully you can see the website here. This Join Us tab has changed, and it now has volunteering roles. So we're very keen for people to volunteer. And if I just kind of click on that, this is going to grow, and we're just in the process of developing it. So we need more people to help with some of the admin and helping run the topic groups. Event planners, so people who are keen to start involving in getting those events, not necessarily just the festivals, but other stuff. We're keen to get someone involved in fundraising. So if someone's got skills or knows someone who's got skills in fundraising. Same goes with researchers. Some people are really good at reading insides and out of reports. Not my forte at all, I'm afraid, but some people are really good at it. And so we need to recruit some of those when there's a bit of research that needs to be done. I'm going to add another box there for musicians and for, as Andrew just mentioned, and so on. So that's the place to go if you're wanting, or if you know that people are wanting to get involved more. And just while we're here, so they've got this events page here, and we've got this calendar that shows you all the things that are going on. So if your event is coming up and you want it to be featured in one of these things here, it's there. So you click on Jenny Kruger and you get the link from there, if that's how you want to find it. And then sometimes there's more details in the boxes below. Interesting stuff. There's a bit there, but also we're talking about the council stuff. So if you go interesting stuff, Wiltshire Council, here you'll find a spreadsheet which we're developing, which shows you the voting history of councillors on environmental issues. And you can download the spreadsheet. At the moment, it's just got the 2 votes that they had on the motion of whether there was a climate emergency or not, but you can see how people voted on that. Quite interesting, and will be useful for when it comes to election time. And there's other stuff on there about that. So I'll just stop that. I just thought I'd grab the moment and do that kind of quick bit. Oh, of course, there's that donate button on the top left-hand corner of that that website. So, in fact, it's been really nice. So several people have donated, and quite, so 25 quid here and 20 quid there. So thank you very much for those who have, and please don't forget to do it if you haven't quite done so yet. So sorry, I'm going to move. We finished about the festival one. I'm just going to move on quickly to the elections. Bill, over to you, I think, on that one.
Yeah, sure. We again, Julian took some notes. I think there's a general groundswell that we want to be doing things. I think that, and I'll just use this generally, that will advise the public on what the problems are, and then bring the public to be looking at the candidates and in that light. And I think those are the 2 things we really need to work hard on. How that works, I don't know. There's a lot of enthusiasm, if you like, to be involved in one way or another. And I think our role might be to, one of the things suggested was if we have hustings in each of the areas, then maybe WCA can coordinate those. But then we'll form a sort of basic question and answer suggestion, and then the local area can ask their own against their own agenda as well, but on that particular heading. But if we organise it, we can organise it around the climate.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. If we organise our own hustings and invite them along, great. I think love that idea.
Yeah. But I say the whole group wants to be engaged. So I think we've got I think there's enthusiasm to actually try and change things a bit, shake things up. Oh, and by the way, Adrian mentioned that there's a lot of people in Chippenham going to put themselves forward as independent councillors as well, which may come up in other discussions.
That's good. Any of the other facilitators around? Yeah, Nick, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're probably going to need a temporary working group on this, because if they do go ahead in May, then we haven't got a lot of time, and there's quite a bit of working out needs to be done. We need some way of distinguishing candidates. So we had a lot of discussion around that, and some way that we can confidently say, you know, they are genuinely green and will push these sorts of things if they get in. Some sort of WCA approval. We thought about a tattoo on the forehead once they've been approved, but but we should also work with green candidates from all parties and none. So it's not a case of, you know, whoever's doing the right thing gets our support. Maybe also a campaign to ask the climate question to the public, that we can get everybody saying to candidates who knock on their doors, etc. Well, what are you doing about X, Y, Z? We need just to think about the questions that we want people to ask those candidates. Put people up against climate skeptic candidates was discussed as well. So where we've got some, you know, candidates, existing councillors who are undermining this agenda, even if we don't succeed in kicking them out, it will, you know, it will worry them and make them realise that people are concerned. There was a comment that Wiltshire Council is afraid of the motoring lobby and is therefore, you know, not following through on certain things. And this is, you know, the Salisbury thing being a case in point. And how do we counter that? And then we talked about we need to really get into having a social media campaign. We've got two volunteers. Sophie's volunteered very kindly as an expert in the field to look at our communication strategy around the election, and Glynis has volunteered to do the Swindon element of the election build-up.
Lovely, thank you, Nick. Any others at all?
Yeah.
Go on. Who was that? Yeah, Break.
Yes, our group was on the elections. Our group was very strongly in favour of local hustings organised by our local groups in their area, so that there'd be a hustings that did focus on the climate questions. And of course, this could be organised either in a venue, if venues are open at the time, or online. But that's something that every local group could do. We discussed also the idea of WCA putting out some kind of questionnaire to candidates, and the question that came up on that was, yes, but how do we actually publicise the answers and get that information out to people, which is something that we've got to think about. We didn't actually come up with an answer to it, but it's something that we could do, but we've got to think about how we get the information out so that people can use that information to decide who they're going to vote for.
Lovely, thank you, Brig. Any others or any more on that stuff coming up on the chat? I'm finding it difficult to read the chat and listen at the same time. I can't see any other hands up at all. We're nearly there, so we're at the kind of any other business bit of the meeting. So does anybody else got any other business? Or I'll hand over to Bill just to sum up in a minute. So I've got Jez, you got your hand up for something, for any other business?
I have, yeah. It just occurred to me about COP26, whether we couldn't open up a fund for donating into to send a youth or pair or group up to Glasgow. I know Bath XR actually have rented out 4 houses with 32 accommodations for the duration. So, you know, it wouldn't be that costly, but obviously it's transport, food and all the rest of it. But I think it'd be good to have a presence there.
Lovely. Jez, are you volunteering for coordinating that?
No.
Okay.
Why
Does
not?
anybody else want to coordinate that?
Glynis.
I'm not coordinating anything, but I'm going up to COP26 with a Conservative and a Labour candidate in an electric car. We've got a spare room, double, at the what do you call it? The YMCA kind of place.
Okay.
So just to let you know, so I'll be doing broadcast from there.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Oh, brilliant, Glynis.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
thank you, Glynis. Any other business before I hand over to Bill, just to sum up and send it on our way? But I've really enjoyed today, so thank you very much. It's been really good. But Bill, over to you. Bill?
Thanks. I just, we should do this more often. But I think it would be difficult to have this long of a session every time we met. I come back to, we started this in 2018, and you know, those guys are now a bit older. Their dad's been locked up a couple of times, but we've carried on. We've been through it. We moved through it, and actually, what's happened in the last 12 months is, to me, amazing. And I, you know, it's all you guys that are doing it. So I'm really pleased, and the fact we've now got a solid group of people who are willing to actually get stuck in and do stuff has got to send a message to our local councils about how this county is now looking at them. And we've got to make that message louder and clearer at the elections. So that's really, really important. But the second thing is that in one of our topic groups, which is led by Chris, we're running an engagement topic group which looks at business. So this year we've got to big up on, as a group, we've got to start bigging up on looking at businesses, because the council are just stepping back from it all, and somebody's got to step forward and start looking at business and comparing businesses and doing that sort of work. So if anybody's in a business, engaged with a business, would like to get involved in that, please come to the engagement group meeting, because we need to set up a number of working groups to tackle that. There are 16,000 businesses in Wiltshire. That's a lot of businesses. I don't suggest we tackle them all, but certainly we need to tackle the big emitters as soon as. And we need some help in that. So I'm just calling out, giving a shout out really for help in that particular area. But I'm wordless about how much we've got through today, and how much input and how much enthusiasm there exists within us all for this. And thank you all again. I'm amazed. I think breakout groups are so good, and we need to somehow work out how to make, say, half a dozen breakout groups in a meeting work, and then come back together and conclude. Because to me, you having a more smaller discussion enables you to share ideas and then come back into the middle and share those ideas. And I think for future meetings, we've got to think really carefully about how we do that, Chris. I think it's a fantastic way of communicating.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's me done. And I just to say again, thank you very much for everybody for coming, and let's roll on another 2 years and let's see where we get to.
Thank you very much. Andrew, I know you got your hand up. I'm not sure if that's kind of folded up.
Okay, I just want to plug two things, and one is newsletter. Brig has put heart and soul into newsletters. When the next one appears, please give feedback. Please think how you might help to make it even better. We might want to go into print or some other medium. And the other plug for topic groups, if you're not in a topic group, please attend at least one. You can just lurk, it's fine. And steering group is talking amongst ourselves about having a quarterly meeting of topic group people, so that there's another level of getting together in between monthly ones and this sort of thing.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Andrew. And I think that concludes the meeting for today. Really good to see so many people seeing it through to the end of about 3-hour meeting. And thank you so much for everybody's engagement. See you at the next one.
Hang on.